got some bad news for Ohio. We talk about medical marijuana laws around the country. There's 25 states that now have medical marijuana laws. And a couple of them are states that have passed legislative measures to legalize medical marijuana. Well, a few of them are. We're talking about places that have made laws like no smoking marijuana, like New York, Pennsylvania, Illinois. No, I don't know about Illinois. I don't think Illinois. A couple others like Missouri, Georgia, they have like CBD laws and whatnot. Well, in Ohio, they have this marijuana rollout that's coming, and it looks like it's going to be 2018 maybe when they have medical marijuana available at their medical marijuana facilities that is regulated by the state. The marijuana will be grown by grow facilities that are regulated by the state. All the distribution networks will be regulated by the state. And that's fine and dandy. That sounds good. Like, okay, if that's what you want to do and make sure that the marijuana is regulated properly and all that, more power to you. But the problem is that the State Medical Board of Ohio just threw down a wrench in anybody that smokes medical marijuana or uses marijuana for medicine right now. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in Ohio, just like everywhere else. Just because the medical marijuana is legal now in Ohio, and we want to call it a affirmative defense, which is basically if you use medical marijuana and all of a sudden you get arrested because you have marijuana in your possession and they test you positive for marijuana and whatever, now you don't have a defense. You can't say you were using medical marijuana because they say a physician is not permitted to issue the state of Ohio approved written recommendation to use medical marijuana until the physician has obtained a certificate to recommend from the State Medical Board of Ohio. And the thing about that is you're not even going to be able to do that until September 8th of 2017 that might be when you can do it, but that's when they have as a deadline to develop the rules under which doctors could issue such recommendations. They might not have it. That's their deadline. We've seen these deadlines come and go in places like New Jersey, Arizona, and other places with medical marijuana being a legislative action. All right, so anyway, it's looking bad. It could be 2 years before that happens. So you're basically saying that somebody can't even use medical marijuana as a defense if they possess any amount of marijuana. And Ohio did have some previous medical marijuana protections, but it didn't have anything to do with like if you had some dried bud on hand, for example. So the board recommends that physicians consult with their private legal counsel and or employer for interpretation of the legislation. They're basically telling you, ask an employer, ask your boss if it's okay if you use medical marijuana, if that might be a problem, and ask your lawyer, because just in case you get caught, what's it going to cost you, and what does it mean to your life and your situation? The Ohio State Medical Association had advised its members to wait for further guidance from the State Licensing and Disciplinary Board. That position has not changed. And a quote from a spokesman named Reginald Fields says, "We would advise our members not to do anything until the rules and regulations have been drafted and promulgated. We understand that may not be for a year or so." I mentioned this word promulgated before in a clip. It's a new word that you hear a lot because, let me just give you a quick explanation. When laws are passed through ballot initiatives by the people because the government won't do something that the people want done, we don't need to promulgate the rules. The rules are basically clear as day and night. Our rule is usually, hey, if you use medical marijuana, you shouldn't be able to get arrested for possessing marijuana because you're using it for medicinal purposes. But instead, they want to make that sound like a gray area. And all of a sudden, every little aspect of marijuana use, manufacturing, distributing, all that stuff becomes crimes. Because the only thing that's really allowed is a person using medical or marijuana as medicine. It's like a decriminalization thing that has a criminal industry built up all around it that at any time could get busted. So the state says, well, you know, we're pros at this shit. Let us do this. And they write the rules and they say, well, here's the rules. Clear as day. You see, they're right there. They're what you wanted, right? Regulations and rules. You asked for that. Here you go. And I'm not saying that these rules and regulations are bad. But what I am saying is that they're set up to exclude a lot of people and maybe even in some cases include people that can only be included because they're connected in a corrupt way that we see time and time again in our government today. But the corruption is not even called into question, and in cases like these laws, they're assumed that they're for the betterment of the people because everybody's so afraid of marijuana, like it's some kind of a bad thing. So anyway, there you have it. When they always keep bringing up this word promulgated or promulgate the rules, what they're really saying is make sure you tell all your buddies how to get in the game the right way without breaking any rules so that they don't get in trouble for some dumb little thing. And all these other people that think they're getting involved, but they don't even get a lawyer to kind of like guide them through the process and weave through the legal wranglings, they end up running dumb and getting busted. And of course the state goes after these people. So it's bad news again in Ohio, as always. There's never any good news in Ohio. You got just one bad thing after another happening. I mean, patients are out there right now just wondering what's going on. You know, like if I get caught using medical marijuana that I had to go across the border over here to Illinois or Michigan, you got to go all the way across two borders to get to Illinois. Pennsylvania's medical marijuana laws are worse than Ohio's, as far as I know, so what's the point of going there? Or New York. If you go to New York near Ohio, you still got to drive like 5 or 6 more hours before you can get to where they actually have medical marijuana, and there's no way you're going to get it if your driver's license says Ohio, so whatever. You're basically going across the state line or buying illegal marijuana where you usually buy it, but if you get caught, you can't even say medical marijuana is my excuse. And you can't have your doctor say that he recommended it because your doctor could get in trouble for not getting this special permission from the board to be able to recommend it. A couple quotes before I leave this alone. Spokesman for Ohioans for medical marijuana, Aaron Marshall, says, "We feel the legislative intent was crystal clear on affirmative defense, that patients would have immediately received legal protection. We're disappointed to see the state medical board has interpreted the affirmative defense in this fashion," which is illegal. They turned affirmative defense into a legal term that they could use to say that if you want an affirmative defense, you have to do this and this and that. So you won't even be able to get that for a couple more years. It looks like concessions were given to some prison lobby groups, is what it sounds like to me. Usually them concessions are just given by, oh, here, you take 10% of the taxes and we'll use some of the revenue over there to buy all these new cop stuff to bust people with. That's usually how it goes. In Ohio, apparently, the way it works is, hey, everybody, guess what? We're still going to arrest you for a couple more years. Prisons need asses and chairs or whatever you call it. Oh, man. We need the medical board to take up this issue as soon as possible and not wait a year to get around to it, he said. If they wait until September 2017, the affirmative defense is just words on paper. And that's the truth, especially if you get caught between now and then. You don't have nothing except for a possession charge and Ohio laws that could land you in jail for a long time. I'm from Michigan. I'm right up north here, and I look at Ohio and I'm like, man, I wish they could get it right. Before they get it right, a lot of people are going to get in trouble. But keep on fighting, Ohio.